For the better part of a century, the blueprint for human success was drawn with a straight, logical line. We were raised on a curriculum that prioritized the mechanical over the abstract, told repeatedly that the path to security lay in the mastery of hard skills. We were encouraged to become calculators, coders, engineers, and analysts, to sharpen the left hemisphere of our brains until it operated with the cold precision of a machine. The promise was simple. If you could process information faster, solve equations more accurately, or write syntax more efficiently than the person next to you, your economic value was guaranteed. We built our entire educational hierarchy on the assumption that intelligence was defined by the ability to retain and manipulate data. But we made a critical error. We spent decades training ourselves to think like computers, never suspecting that the computers would eventually catch up. The arrival of generative AI has fundamentally broken this contract. In the span of just a few years, the very skills that were once considered the pinnacle of human intellect, complex coding, legal analysis, technical writing, and data synthesis, have been trivialized. What used to take a senior software engineer 4 hours to debug can now be resolved by an AI model in 4 seconds. What took a copywriter all day to draft can be generated in a singular, effortless pulse of electricity. We are witnessing the rapid devaluation of logic. The ability to process information is no longer a high-income skill. It is a commodity that is rapidly approaching a cost of zero. In 2026, being smart, in the traditional sense, will not make you special. It will simply make you redundant. This shift represents a terrifying inversion of the economic order. For generations, the thinkers, the white-collar workers sitting in climate-controlled offices, felt safe from the threat of automation, believing that robots would only come for the factory jobs, for the hands, not the minds. But the revolution did not arrive with robotic arms. It arrived with neural networks. We are now facing a reality where the safe jobs are the ones most at risk. If your contribution to the economy is based strictly on logic, rules, and inputs leading to outputs, you are competing against an entity that does not sleep, does not tire, and improves at an exponential rate. The fortress of logic has fallen, and those who remain inside it are defending a castle that has already been conquered. This brings us to a concept that is as chilling as it is plausible: the rise of what historian Yuval Noah Harari calls the useless class. Throughout history, technological revolutions have always displaced workers, but they have never made the human mechanism obsolete. When the steam engine arrived, it replaced muscle, but the economy still needed the human mind to operate the levers. When the computer arrived, it replaced the filing cabinet, but it still needed the human intellect to input the data. We have always retreated into the fortress of our cognitive superiority. But the AI revolution is different, because it is not coming for our hands. It is coming for our heads. For the first time in history, we are facing the prospect of a class of people who are not just unemployed, but unemployable. Individuals who have nothing to offer the economy that an algorithm cannot do faster, cheaper, and with zero margin for error. By 2026, we may begin to see the early tremors of a white-collar recession. The danger here is not the sudden collapse of the job market, but a slow, silent erosion of the middle class. The junior accountant, the paralegal, the mid-level copywriter, and the customer support agent are the horses of the 21st century. In 1915, a horse looked at the first Model T Ford and perhaps thought, "That machine is interesting, but it can't handle the rough terrain like I can." Within 20 years, the horse population collapsed not because they were lazy, but because they were economically irrelevant. We are currently watching the Model T roll off the assembly line. The software that is being deployed today is already capable of automating the majority of routine cognitive tasks. And by 2026, the gap between human efficiency and machine efficiency will be insurmountable. This creates a psychological crisis that is far deeper than the loss of a paycheck. Our modern society is built on the foundation that our value comes from our utility, from what we can produce. We spend the first 2 decades of our lives in education, preparing to be useful cogs in a great economic machine. But what happens when the machine rejects the cog? If an AI can write a better legal brief, diagnose a disease with higher accuracy, and code a more secure app than you, then what is your purpose? The useless class will not be starving in the streets. They may be kept alive by universal basic income or government subsidies, pacified by virtual reality and cheap digital entertainment. But they will be stripped of their agency, drifting through a world where they are no longer necessary participants, but merely tolerated spectators. However, hidden within this technological tsunami is a strange, counterintuitive phenomenon that might just be our salvation. In the 1980s, artificial intelligence researchers stumbled upon a discovery that defied their expectations, a principle now known as Moravec's paradox. They found that high-level reasoning, the things we consider hard, like calculus, playing chess, or analyzing financial markets, requires very little computation for a computer. But the things we consider easy, the unconscious skills of a 3-year-old, like recognizing a face, understanding a joke, or reading the emotional temperature of a room, are incredibly difficult to reverse engineer. We assume that the pinnacle of intelligence was cold logic, but it turns out that logic is the easiest thing to simulate. The hardest thing to simulate is humanity. For decades, we have been running the wrong race. We optimized our education system and our careers to compete with the machines on their home turf. We taught ourselves to be efficient, emotionless, and data-driven, stripping away the messy parts of our character to become better processors of information. But Moravec's paradox reveals that this was a strategic suicide. By trying to be more like computers, we made ourselves replaceable. The hard skills are fragile. They can be encoded and automated. But the soft skills, the chaotic, intuitive, and deeply biological ability to connect with another consciousness, are surprisingly resilient. The fortress of logic has fallen, but the garden of empathy remains untouched. This signals a profound pivot in the global economy, a shift from an information economy to a connection economy. In a world where every answer is available instantly and for free, the value of knowing things drops to zero. The value now lies in feeling things. AI can diagnose a terminal illness with perfect accuracy, scanning millions of data points in a second. But it cannot hold the patient's hand, look them in the eye, and navigate the terrified silence that follows. It can provide the text, but it cannot provide the subtext. We are entering an era where our flaws, our emotions, our subjectivity, our need for social validation are no longer bugs in the system. They are the only features that matter. So, if logic is dead and data is free, what is the single skill that will ensure your survival in 2026? It is not something you can get a degree in. It is the ability to engage in high-level synthesis and radical empathy. To understand this, we must stop viewing ourselves as creators of content and start viewing ourselves as curators of meaning. In the near future, the act of doing the work, writing the code, drafting the email, designing the logo, will be meaningless, because the cost of production will be zero. The value will shift entirely to the intent behind the work. The skill is no longer about how well you can mix the paint. It is about knowing exactly where to put the brush stroke to evoke a feeling that a machine cannot statistically predict. This is the difference between the writer and the editor. The writer generates text, a task that is now trivially easy for a large language model. But the editor understands the audience. The editor knows that a specific word choice will trigger a specific memory, that a certain pause creates tension, that a flaw in the protagonist makes them lovable. This is the unalgorithm-able skill. It is the capacity to connect two unrelated dots, biology and architecture, poetry and finance, to create a novel idea that isn't just a recombination of existing data. AI operates on probability. It predicts the next most likely word. True human creativity operates on improbability. It finds the path that shouldn't exist but somehow feels right. Therefore, the most dangerous thing you can do right now is to continue learning syntax. Stop memorizing the rules of a coding language that will be obsolete in 2 years. Stop learning the rigid structures of academic writing. Instead, double down on the humanities. Study psychology to understand what makes people tick. Study philosophy to understand how to frame an argument. Study history to recognize the patterns of the future in the echoes of the past. The technical skills are transient, but the understanding of the human condition is eternal. In 2026, the person who knows how to build the app will be working for the person who knows why the app needs to exist. There is a profound irony in our current predicament. For decades, science fiction warned us that the robot revolution would destroy humanity, that the machines would rise from the ashes of our civilization to exterminate us. But the reality is far stranger. The machines did not come to destroy us. They came to force us to be human again. By automating the mechanical, the logical, and the repetitive, artificial intelligence is stripping away the artificial layers we have built around ourselves. It is removing the need for us to act like biological calculators and pushing us back toward our original purpose, to feel, to connect, and to create meaning in a chaotic universe. The useless class is only a threat if we cling to the old definition of usefulness. If you insist on measuring your worth by your ability to process data, then yes, you are obsolete. But if you embrace the shift, if you accept that your value lies in your unique, subjective experience of consciousness, then you have nothing to fear. The economy of 2026 will not punish you for being human. It will starve you for being a robot. We are witnessing the end of the age of information and the beginning of the age of insight. So, as we approach this great filter, do not try to outrun the algorithm. Do not try to be faster, smarter, or more efficient than the silicon mind you have created. That is a race you cannot win. Instead, go where the machine cannot follow. Cultivate your empathy, sharpen your intuition, and deepen your understanding of the human heart. In the end, the future doesn't belong to the smartest person in the room. It belongs to the only real person in the room.